Welcome to CPG Vibes. No scripts,
just chat.
I'm Alex Baer.
And I'm Wade Yenny.
Each episode is recorded live, and we talk all things food and beverage, and so much more.
Feel our vibe and search for CPG Vibes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and make sure to give us a 5-star review.
If you'd like to sponsor our show with your product or service, email us at cpgvibes100@gmail.com.
Now, let's vibe.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 132 of CPG Vibes. We got a great show today. We're going to be talking about, out the gate, about Newtopia Now. It's a recap. It just happened August 25th to 27th, 2024. Can't believe, wait, it's already heading into September, and then we blink, it's Halloween. We blink again, it's Thanksgiving. We blink one more time, Christmas. So it's going fast. It's going fast. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Been a busy week, ready for a long weekend, and excited about the show. Welcome back. You absent last week. Jake and I had a good time, held down the fort.
Yep.
How's it feel to be back in the driver's seat?
It feels really good. I mean, I would argue, I mean, if there was two driver seats with two wheels, we're both in there together. But no, I had another event last week on Friday, and then I was able to tune in live on my phone during this event. I got to see you guys rapping back and forth. So you did a great job at the helm.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cool. Well, welcome back.
Yeah, good to be back. And I think a lot of people just pushed really, really hard this week, knowing that we have the long weekend and Mondays off. So like people are just working extra hard to get all their projects done. That's kind of how it's felt this week. So good stuff. Good stuff. I'm sure that's happening at V Driven. And you got some exciting things at V Driven happening, which will definitely, I want to talk about that as well, because it's good news and it's big news, right?
Excellent.
So let's go into just a couple things. Number one, I say number one because we're the number one rated CPG podcast in the world. Please give us a rating. We crossed 300. So thank you, everyone. We were at like 250 a month ago, and now we're at 300. It's just skyrocketing. And then also, Wade, another milestone that we are approaching. You know which one that is?
I'm not sure. You have to fill me in.
There's a shitload of milestones, right? But I'll say the big one is we are approaching 2,000 followers on our LinkedIn.
Wow.
For CPG Vibes. And it's crazy because it's already past Genius Juice. You know, Genius Juice, I think, is approaching 2,000 back when I ran it for 10 years. And already in a couple of years, 2,000 followers on LinkedIn for CPG Vibes, which is the best thing to do because you get all of our updates, you get our posts, you get the recaps, and also the new events that we're posting on here and how to tune in. So thank you, everyone, for all your support. If you'd like to be a sponsor on our episode, you can email cpgvibes100@gmail.com. We are basically almost completely booked for the rest of the year, but there might be one or two openings. If you want to snag those openings, we got an intro rate for first-time sponsorships at $350, or you get a pack of 3 for $1,350. We have this week's sponsor, which is we're excited to talk more about them. I'm going to leave people in suspense, but it's Rebel Eats. And it's a CPG service provider website and portal and resource platform. We'll tell you more about that. I can at least give you a little bit of a preview on what they are about. Let's see. At Rebel Eats, they cut to the chase and give you advice and help you and your need for your very specific journey. They're the first offering a provider network with double vetted roster of professionals in CPG who can give you the best bang for your buck on what you need at any growth stage. They're vetted by us, by them, by Rebel Eats, and they're vetted by other founders that have used these service providers. Pretty cool concept, right? I have not seen this before, where they have vetted service providers for CPG. Need a website? Find one. If you need packaging design, here's some recommended providers. You need a brokership? Boom. I think it's a cool concept. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And then we also have our ongoing sponsors, and that is My Way 3PL and Range Me. And My Way 3PL is a logistics solutions, and they were born from seeing all the pain points of CPG brands and what they go through with other logistics providers. And Wade, he physically visited one of their locations, one of their DCs, and there's a picture of him with a pallet. With the team and at a pallet, hopefully not dropping on his head. It was above. I'm just kidding. And but great warehouse. They know what they're doing. Safety top priority. They have a great team. They bring in young brands and also mature brands as well. Whether you're doing your first $1,000 in sales to your first 100 to hitting 100 million, My Way 3PL helps you at any stage in your growth of your CPG business. And so they have proven results in cost savings and operational enhancement. They offer a true balance of both strategy and execution. Partner with My Way 3PL to streamline your logistics and scale from small to large or even large to larger. myway3pl.com/CPG vibes. That's the portal. You can fill out the form and you get your first pallet for free when you store it at their warehouse for the first month. Again, myway3pl.com/CPG vibes. Our second sponsor is Range Me. They're the smartest way to get your brand in front of thousands of retailers. Experience always on-brand exposure, exclusive buyer discovery opportunities, and access to proprietary insights, research, and resources. With over 15,000 buyers, 15,000. It's crazy. And then Midday Squares, they were on our show last week. They got some retailers through Range Me. So if they can do it, so can you. So they have retailers like Target, Albertsons, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Publix, Kroger, Costco, Wegmans, H-E-B, Food Line, Giant Foods, Fresh Market, and many, many more. And they have ECRM category sessions like Joe Tarnowski, where you can have in-person events and present your product. If you want to grow your brand, this is one of the best ways. Besides, V-Driven is a great way to grow your brand, right? Because you get access to buyers and retailers that way. And they have other expertise and a great team. But definitely for online and to apply online and present your product, it's a great way, which is through Range Me. And they have...
Actually, Alex, you also can see V-Driven, the company I work for,
yes,
via Range Me. In fact, I have to give a shout out to above and beyond our normal sponsorship to Range Me for that this week. I had someone reach out to me via finding us on Range Me. There's a service provider piece there that you can see that, and that fills out a little form. I get a message, and we're connected just like that. So yeah, it works great.
Love it. And V-Driven's doing the Sprouts Innovation Pitch Slam, which they're going to get some brands flown out to the Sprouts headquarters in Arizona to present innovation and new items. And we'll talk more about innovation in general, right? That's part of our subject matter. We got Newtopia Now, which we're going to get into in 30 seconds, and also focus brain health products and with the future of this category, which Sprouts is looking at literally in 2 weeks at the V-Driven event at Sprouts Corporate. So going back to Range Me, they have 30% off, $9.99 if you want to do the premium plan. Instead of $13.99, then our pro is $16.99 a year instead of $24.99. This is 2,000. We're in the thousands here, but still very, very low. Go to rangeme.com/CPG vibes. And then we have our YouTube channel, and that's youtube.com/@CPG vibes. So I'll take a breath, but Wade, I know your team, V-Driven, and we're going to read some comments here as well. We'll shout those out about if you went to Newtopia Now, please put in the comments and we'll read them and give you our feedback. But Wade, so V-Driven went, I know you personally were not able to go, but V-Driven went to Newtopia Now. Tell me what you heard from your team members, from Luke, Sasha. I'd love to hear the details.
Yeah, Luke, we like many people we wanted to be present there. Just like any important event in our industry, we want to have some presence. And and take part and participate in the community piece. But Luke was there, had a lot of good meetings with some of our brands that were presenting there, some of our some of our retailer partners. I think the general consensus was that it was definitely, obviously, it was not Expo West. Nothing's Expo West, but the intimate aspect. Conversations were easier to be had, meaningful conversations, whereas obviously with some of those larger events, and make no mistake about it, Newtopia Now is a large event, right? It wasn't a small event, it was a larger event, but unlike some of those larger events, the conversation piece was a little bit easier to be had. And I think Kenny, I believe, is in here with us. Kenny, feel free to put some comments in the chat about your experience there at Newtopia Now. But all in all, I feel everything I heard was positive. And I also think that I believe I saw that they've already announced that it's coming back next year, and it will indeed still be in Denver. I think there was some back and forth whether or not they were going to move it over on the East Coast like Expo East was. If you recall, Newtopia Now was originally scheduled for Savannah, Georgia, and there were some issues with the location. The venue was doing some remodeling or construction or something, so they pivoted, moved it to Denver, and I've already seen that they've announced that it would be back in Denver next year. So I will be there next year, but looking forward to it.
Cool. And really I was planning to go, right? I posted on LinkedIn. I said, hey, I need a ticket, because the tickets, they're not cheap. They're over $1,000. They're 15, 16, $1,700 for a ticket. And, from what I heard, it's worth it. So I posted, and then I didn't hear from anyone. And so I made other plans on that Monday. And then after I made my plan, someone reached out and said, I have a badge for you for Monday. So thank you to that individual that did offer me the badge. But my knowledge is based on what I'm seeing on LinkedIn. And I'm gonna talk about, like I always do, right? A little controversial. I think the great things, and then also some things that could be a challenge, right, for them, and they may want to consider this in the future. The great things is there's a lot of buzz around it. There was a lot of buzz. A lot of brands went there. Big brands went there. But I felt that they were focusing more on the natural brands that people really care about, that are growing and really helping change the food system. And that's what I really liked. The venue was smaller, which is a good thing. Everything was more in like 1 or 2 rooms versus all over the place. So everything was centrally located, easy to find. I also heard that a lot of buyers did go. Like there were buyers that were walking the floor. And I heard from the V-Driven team that they ran into many, many buyers. No shortage of social events, right, after the event. And they had, I think it was very well executed and very well organized. And I didn't really hear any complaints. I didn't hear any bad things from brands that were there. And they felt that it was worth it to be there, have a booth, especially on the what do you call it? The first show, right? There's a word for that. The inaugural.
Yeah.
That's the word. Yeah. That's the word. So I think all that was great. The challenge that I see with all the great things is that it is in August. A lot of people are on vacation, hot as hell. And even though it's an air-conditioned building, getting to the show, walking there, from an Uber or walking down the street if you're at a hotel somewhere, it's not the end of the world if you're walking in hot heat, but it's still relatively hot, even though it's in Denver. And so it's a tough time for traveling and doing business when people are on the road, on vacation. And also it's the week before Labor Day weekend. So some people may have, decided to go on vacation early or take the week off before Labor Day Monday. So I would see that potentially hurting the show in the future, where some buyers just can't make it to the show because they have other plans. But again, I felt from looking at all the posts, talking with their founders, excellent show, great first year. They led with strength. They also had different events and seminars,
right,
teaching people about the industry. That was well organized. So overall, pretty damn good job for a first year.
Yeah, and I think you alluded to the brand piece of it. I think I saw multiple recaps, just kind of acknowledging the fact that when you go to Expo West and you have the big the Chobanis, the Topo Chico, these monstrous brands that have these huge things. Everything I heard and saw this was not that atmosphere. It was geared more towards smaller brands, and with an emphasis on new innovation and things like that. So I think it's if as a brand, you're in that phase where you're just starting and you're just getting going and money's tight, you're bootstrapped, what have you, every penny counts. So that's the case anytime. But I think when you're looking at the difference between the shows, maybe this one's more manageable. And I think now that it's kind of gotten off and running, I feel like the presence next year there'll be more. I think as I mentioned, there was some service providers I know personally, as well as some brands that I know, as well as buyers that were hesitant this first year. But I think the participation next year, as good as this year was from everything we've seen and heard, I think next year we'll see it grow even more so, because the feedback coming out of the show has been so positive. So I think that's a great thing.
Exactly. And, one thing that, from, and I'm trying to make sure the mic doesn't cover up my face. I'm trying to get a better angle on all this. Just little logistic moves we're making on the show for a better experience. Is Expo West. It's a monster show, but it's easy to get lost at this show as a brand, right? If you have a booth, upper floor, main hall, right, third floor in those ballrooms, or even in North Hall, even in the main hall, the North Hall, I should say, second floor, in the back, it's easy to get lost. So I like how this is better catered for a smaller brand that may not have the resources, may not have as much money as you need for Expo West. You don't have to bring as many samples, right? Expo West, you have to bring so many samples because you just got more people that are window shopping and grabbing whatever they can, and filling it in their bags. So I feel this was a really good move by New Hope to really frame it as this is really a smaller time show, but it's going to have some big time buyers that are going to be there that are really looking for just innovation, and they're looking for natural brands that are really looking to change the way we eat and drink and make things healthier, cleaner, and more natural. So for that, I think it's great. But I'm also curious if they're going to ever move it closer to the center of the country or to the East Coast. So these are all things I'm sure they're going to figure out in the next couple years. But I think it's good they keep it in Denver. Continuity. They did it this year. They're going to do it next year. And they can keep collecting data to see, should we move it or should we keep it there? But it does look like that, Wade, whether you know it or not, you're going to be at the show next year.
I see that. The boss has spoken that he's bringing me, and then right below that, you just had it up on the screen for those of you not watching with us live or participating with us live. Jessica Rubino is in the chat. She's the vice president of content at New Hope, and so Jessica, kudos to you and the New Hope team for putting on a good show. And those of you in the chat now, if you'd like to throw a comment in there, throw it in there. Jessica probably could answer some questions in the chat if you'd like. And the other thing I would say, Alex, and we made a pitch for this prior to Newtopia Now, but now's our time. Jessica's in the chat. We are available to do a podcast at New Hope events, right? I mean, last time I checked, our calendars, and we're willing to do that. And I think we'd be happy to participate as media personnel at New Hope. So just hit us up, cpgvibes100@gmail.com. So Jody Doyle says, great recap of the event. We hope to show there next year. So yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff. I think you just volunteered me to go out there with you next year. It just happened, just like that.
I was going to say, see how I didn't ask that? It's just no script, just chat. So yeah, but again, if you're in the chat and have a question for Jessica, please throw it in there, or for us for that matter. That's what we do. And as a reminder, if you're tuning in for the first time or it's been a while, we have a sponsor we've already talked about, which is Rebel Eats. We are going to be giving away a prize at the end of the show, and that prize will be, you have to win that prize, you have to answer a question about something we've talked about during the episode. So pay attention, write notes, all that good stuff, and you could win a prize from our sponsor this week, Rebel Eats.
Yeah, and I guess I'll say it now, and instead of waiting till the end of the show, this is the debut of Rebel Eats. He's literally launching today live, August 30th, which is when this live recording is happening, August 30th, 2024 at 12:21 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so the prize is going to be, so congratulations first off to Trevor Smith, longtime buddy of mine, He used to run the brand Secret Squirrel. Remember that brand, the coffee brand that was in Target and Whole Foods and all across the country. And then he pivoted to be more of a resource for the CPG industry. I think every, like, a lot of brand owners do that. Like, they start out as brand owners, and it's so hard, right, to run your own brand. You could be successful, but it's hard. Once you run it once or twice, usually you're like, you know what, I'm going to be on the other side of the table now. I'm going to help other brands to succeed and help them grow and pass on the knowledge that I've learned, right? And that's what I'm doing. That's what Trevor's doing. So it's a truly pay it forward mentality, which I love about Trevor. He's always been there for others. And congratulations, buddy, on launching Rebel Eats. And the prize, again, you have to make sure you have to be here at the end of the show, is going to be a NOLA snack pack, granola gourmet bites. So that's going to be a $60 value there. And then also we're going to be bringing on Adam Getz with Reciprocal, and he's on the Rebel Eats team as well. He helped them on their GUI, I call it, their graphical user interface for all the nerds out there, on their homepage hero redesign and their brand positioning headline. He did some of the marketing for Rebel Eats. And Adam will be coming on here from Reciprocal and also on the Rebel Eats team at the 45 mark. So good stuff. So, yeah, and I would think, we know people that are going to have some booths there next year at Newtopia Now. So I think we can wedge ourselves in there. I mean, we're not big people. We can get into a small little, but we proved that. We proved that at Expo West, where we got into the eye level booth.
Yeah, but Alex, I think you're not following the program here. We've got the vice president of content listening and in our audience right now. She can invite us to the show, and we won't need to have someone piggyback. We're pushing the envelope up. And speaking of which, her comment, for those, again, if you're, I'm going to read it out loud. I've got it up on the screen here, but she's saying that an attendee survey was sent out today, and please fill that out if you can. The feedback helps plan for the future, and really that goes with anything in this avenue, right? I mean, we all get surveys, right? You have an issue and you contact a help desk or something, send a survey. How do they do? This one's really important because it's the community that's going to shape this show and future shows down the road. And by giving that feedback, good, bad, and otherwise, you're going to help shape the event for the future and help making it better. So good stuff, Jessica. And Kenny's driving, I think, right now, but he said he has a recap forthcoming. But overall, he feels it was a great compliment to Expo West, and he can't wait to be part of Newtopia's evolution, which kind of goes right back into what I just said. It was with regards to that survey. You can shape this by giving that feedback and sharing your opinion as far as how that show went. So
love it. And I'm going to one-up you on one thing, is that I love the idea, with Jessica listening here, is and pushing the envelope is, really, really having a presence at Newtopia Now, where we can also, leading up to the show, we can talk about the show, we can talk about us being there. But I also love the fact that we can support the CPG community while there, because we're going to bring, for those that haven't listened to our Expo West show, we pulled people from the floor. Like, literally, they're walking behind us. Oh man, that's Maurizio from Nowhere Bakery. Get in here. Or, that's Allison Clay, from My Family Seasonings. Get in here, right? And we just brought people from the floor on our show, happenstance, to talk about how is the show, how's it doing, what they like about it, where they're going, what their plans are. And then it broadcasts. The beauty of it, Wade, which we love, is it broadcasts live. It's not beautiful for me because I say stupid things, but it's great for everyone else. And it broadcasts live on LinkedIn Live, on YouTube Live. It gets out to a lot of people, and hopefully people even on the floor are listening in their earpiece, and they can come over and be on our show. So anyway, I know we've laid it on pretty thick here, but Jessica, we'd love to talk with you and be a part of it. So
this is from Sarah Stender Delaney. She said, Jessica, she really enjoyed the Women in CPG brunch this week. Thank you.
Yep.
And I had up on the screen, Derek Gold is watching us in the U.S. Open at the same time. So I'm guessing he has the U.S. Open on mute, and we're basically calling play-by-play, if that's a thing in golf, for the U.S. Open right now. So imagine that.
Yep, and this is a tennis. The U.S. Open already happened.
Oh, same thing. Golf, tennis, whatever it is.
Same crap. Same stuff.
Exactly.
So
it's a ball. It's a ball, and they hit it, and whatever.
It's a small ball. You hit it somewhere, and you win. So we also, just speaking on that as well, we mentioned about just the Women in CPG brunch. we're going to have a women in CPG expert series on October 4th of 2024. So that's coming up. We were talking about almost a little more than a month away. And we're going to have Nicole Dawes, right? And so she was the founder of Late July and now the current founder of Nixie. She exited from Late July. Karen Danujaja, she was on our show before, and she's with Bloom. She's the CEO, owner of Bloom. And Lan Pham, and she is, I'm going to make sure I get this right, with Sang Vietnamese coffee, which is growing very quickly. So we're going to have a special show just for that.
So Alex, we've got Kenny willing to jump on here. If you don't mind me, we can send him the link to bring him in and talk a little bit about Newtopia. Kenny, I'm going to send you a message on LinkedIn with the link for you to pop in. So check your LinkedIn messages, and we'll bring you on to talk a little bit.
Sure, because we're running out of things to say, so we need to get Kenny on here because he was at the show. So
he was at the show. Exactly.
40 love, like that's
40
U.S. Open.
40 under par.
40 under par. That would be that's Scotty Scheffler level right there.
Exactly.
So while we're waiting for Kenny to hop on, once we talk about Newtopia Now, we're also going to be talking about brain-focused health products and the growth of that category. And Sprouts, this innovation pitch slam that V-Driven is graciously hosting and putting everything together for brands, bringing some brands out to Sprouts headquarters. They're focusing on 2 items at Sprouts for the next innovation pitch slam: brain health cognitive products and lemon. Those 2.
Yeah.
I guess lemon, where did that? I guess lemon's just been surging and it came out of nowhere. Right?
I can't speak to that. I think, it's the hero ingredient, and it's just an honor to partner with a retailer like Sprouts in this kind of project. V-Driven, we like to think of ourselves as small and mighty. You mentioned how many followers we have on our CPG Vibes LinkedIn channel. We're making a push now as well on our V-Driven channel to have on LinkedIn to have more people join us and follow us for the content we put out. We do a masterclass once a month, but this event with Sprouts coming up here is really exciting. It's a chance to get in front of, if you're in person, you can do it in person, you can do it via Zoom or, remotely as far as your pitch. But we're super excited to be partnering with Sprouts on this and focusing on, innovation, lemon as ingredients we talked about, and then the brain and cognitive health. So there's no secret that they're leaders in innovation, and oftentimes that's a chance to get out in front of Sprouts customers at a much more economical price than traditional category reviews and all that thing. You got your shot. It's kind of like it's a trial and error type thing, right? You got your shot to be out there for 3 months and see how things go and prove your worth. And, if nothing else, get feedback. If it doesn't work on a display in the innovation table, it probably says a little bit about your brand, right? I mean, I hate to say that, but at the same time, it's an off-shelf display. It's kind of center of the store, if you will, and it's front and center for everyone to look at, and you're basically, it's almost like an end cap, if you will. And that type of placement, that type of showcasing, typically costs a lot of money. So to be able to get in there and get out in front of people is terrific. And like I said, our team at V-Driven is just honored, and kudos to Luke and Sasha for all the work they put in executing the event itself, as well as the vetting and all the follow-up and correspondence and everything that goes through. I think this is our fourth or so event like this we've done. We've done one on regenerative organic. We've done one, just a general pitch slam. So super excited to see this take place and see what kind of innovation we can bring together.
Absolutely. Really well said. Yeah, I love what Sprouts, while we're waiting for Kenny here, I love what Sprouts is doing. I mean, the fact that they have the kind of the speed to shelf program, right, where they have the center kind of, I call it, I guess, the new item innovation little area there. That's in almost in every single store, unless it's a very small store. But they also have the Fresh Finds cooler, which is where Midday Squares really made a mark when they first launched with Sprouts, where there's Wild Wonder in there. There's Midday Squares in there. There's also Sunny, the new kid snack that's in there, that's refrigerated. And they've really built that out. And then they're also taking chances on more cutting edge, innovative products, more than many other retailers. I mean, one of the first national retailers to bring in brands like Magic Mind, this cognitive nootropic shot where they were just basically online before in coffee shops, and Sprouts said, no, we're going to take our chance on this because it's a growing category that's been trending and people want healthier for you items. So all good stuff. I know that Kenny's right here. I just want to mention our sponsors real quick, and then we're going to bring Kenny right on. Looks like he has the glasses / shades rocking over there. So just our sponsors. So we have MyWay3PL. Make sure to go to myway3pl.com/CPG vibes to get discounts, get your first pallet for free. He's on the move, Kenny. And we have rangeme.com/CPG vibes, and you can get in front of 15,000 buyers. And we have this week's sponsor, which is Rebel Eats. He's going to be coming on at the 45 mark. This is Adam with Reciprocal, who's on the team of Rebel Eats. And Rebel Eats is basically, long story short, they're the first to offer Rebel Eats provider network, double vetted roster of professionals in CPG who can give you the best bang for your buck for what you need help with at any growth stage. They're double vetted by us and vetted by other founders. And they launched literally today, August 30th, 2024. So congratulations, Trevor Smith. So without further ado, let's bring on Kenny to, for about, let's say 5 to 10 minutes, talk to us about whatever we want to talk about, because we love them and we can talk about Newtopia Now.
And for those of you that don't know, Kenny Hausman is the Senior Category Manager of Natural Living for Fresh Time, a well-respected retailer headquartered right around Chicago area with too many stores for me to count. I'll let Kenny talk a little bit about Fresh Time as well as Newtopia. Kenny, good to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you, fellas. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm actually in a back alley right now. I actually met when I sent my text at Newtopia next year I'd come on the show, and then I'm like, oh, shoot. Well, you know what? Let's do this.
Put yourself out there, Kenny. You sound great. You look great. Tell us about your experience at Newtopia.
Yeah, overall, I would have to, concur with you folks. It was overall a positive experience, right? So, like I said a couple of weeks ago via chat on your show a couple of weeks ago, really feel like this show is a great complementary to Expo West. It's definitely not the same, but it was intimate. I love that it was a more manageable floor to walk with the see emerging brands, and there was definitely more of a focus on emerging brands, which was really positive to see. I think New Hope did an overall great job kind of organizing everything. I would say communication and organization overall, if I would have to say one area of improvement, it's just continuing to tighten that up. But honestly, it was the first show, right? So, and I always come at these things with a positive perspective. You get out of a show or anything, what you put into it. And quite frankly, I was pretty pleased. And what I really appreciated too were the conscientious connections. So those were the one-on-one connections that we got with some of our brands to set up really invaluable meeting time with our brands. So to have that opportunity to kind of sit from the other side of the table of emerging brands, existing brands, just to have a moment to chat and talk about current business, I thought was valuable, coupled with walking the show floor. So really had a great experience. Looking forward to filling out my survey. And I'm not sponsored by New Hope in any way, but anyone that attended,
not yet,
please fill out the survey. Because
yes,
honestly,
right.
That is our voice and our platform to be able to provide the feedback. And my perspective is we have an opportunity and a responsibility being in this industry to provide that feedback, because that's the only way we're going to get better, fellas.
I got a question. That very well said, my man. And I love the background. I think we should change all of our backgrounds for CPG Vibes to a brick wall for some reason. It just works. So this is a boring question, right? Just a forewarning. What was the flow like? Like walkability, getting to the booths that you want to go to? How big was the show? How many rooms? First floor, second floor? Tell us more details about the general flow and getting to where you needed to go to.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Alex. It was one floor. So overall, it was a very manageable show. So, I would tell you as a buyer, if I didn't stop at every booth or even a handful of booths, I could probably get through the show of a day. But to kind of dimensionalize it for everybody, it's definitely larger than like a typical KE show or a Unified Tabletop. And I would say, and I'll open to feedback, I would say it was probably anywhere between 55, probably 60% to even like an Expo East, which I typically in Expo East was 75 to 80% of an Expo West. So not a small show by any stretch, but definitely a manageable show. The flow overall was pretty solid. They had this neighborhood set up that kind of lump all the booths together around like themes like Generate for regenerative agriculture, Thrive, Glow for body care. Overall, it was an interesting concept. I will admit that the flow was a little bit different. So I definitely walked the show a couple different times and went a couple different paths to kind of make sure I hit every single booth.
That's great. So Kenny, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit and ask you to read the minds of, you're so well connected and you have such great relationships with your brands. What was you gave us your perception and fantastic verbalizing that, by the way. What was your takeaway from the brands that you interacted with and how they felt about the show? What was their take?
Very positive. They liked that it was a more intimate show, that they had the ability to connect with buyers in that setting. So it wasn't like, this hustle and bustle Expo West, yet there was still this sense of connection. And even I would say even a deeper level. And I think it's going to provide a lot of emerging brands too, that much more confidence if they want to approach an Expo West, knowing that they've made some of those connections. Because I can speak for myself and the team that we definitely found a lot of new items, and we've definitely found a lot of relationships or bridged into a lot of relationships. Now, full disclosure, we're at the end of the year, which is typically the end of the category review cycle. However, I think that this show is a great show to kind of prioritize what we're going to be looking at for next year.
And that's a good segue into the next question I had for you, Kenny. And I posted about this either earlier this week, late last week. I don't know when it was. Doesn't matter. But with regards to the timing, this time of year, so you in your cycle and your team at Fresh Time, as you look and you're looking ahead, twofold. One, how did Newtopia set you up for 2025 reviews and as far as that goes? And secondly, what really was the focus for brands? So oftentimes you see brands holding back for Expo West to introduce innovation. It's kind of the grand release that, we've got this coming. What was the brand focus at Newtopia?
Yeah, that is a good question. There's a lot there, Wade. So I would say, if you wait to Expo West to kind of meet with prospective retailers, that might be actually a little bit late in the game. So like I mentioned before, I feel like this show could become a show where, you can reach some of the larger retailers and buyers to kind of help start lay out that path for next year when it comes to reviews, innovation, that sort of thing. Though we have the intention when we walk Expo West to look for innovation, I felt like that this show could have that opportunity to become almost like that jumping off point as we build out the category review schedule for next year, if that makes sense. Now, every retailer is different. We're a relatively large chain. We're 70 stores across the Midwest. Obviously, smaller independents have a little bit more flexibility. But at the same time, I think that both shows are valuable. I think that they're very much complementary, and I think it's only just going to get better as we move on.
So, Kenny, I don't know if you can read the comments right now. I'll read it to you in case you can't. But Jessica, again, the vice president of content at New Hope, is saying she needs to get you involved with the buyer side chat sessions at next year's event. We highlighted a bunch of retailer perspectives across stages, and you always have such great insights. One of the reasons why we brought you on the show, because we love you and absolutely have great insights as far as that goes. So, great stuff. And Alex, did you have another question for Kenny?
I'm more of like kind of a statement and getting, I think, just kind of to riff off what he was talking about is when you're like a newer brand and you're just getting, your product going and you're just getting into some small independent retailers, it could be daunting in some ways when you go to Expo West, just the massive amount of people, the number of samples you need. Again, with a lot of booths, sometimes, it could get lost if you're a really, really small brand looking to grow. I like that Newtopia Now is a great kind of middle ground, right, between a very small trade show, like it's called a Unify or KE show, and a very large trade show and the World Series, right, of trade shows, or the Super Bowl, I should say, Expo West. So it's a halfway mark, but approachable and easy for a small burgeoning brand to go there. And, there's one brand that I know that went there, which is Nowhere Bakes. Maurizio and Safira, and they have a baby. So I think 1-year-old by now. So congratulations. They went to the show Newtopia Now because it was approachable, easy to get in, easy to be seen, and it's curated, it's organized by section, which makes it easier for a buyer to find you and set a meeting with you, more intimate. So I do like this approach, and it was, I feel, the right pivot for them to go away from Expo East, which is basically the East Coast version of Expo West, to a more specialized curated event. So, I mean, what on the on I have only one more question for Kenny, is what was kind of the interface and how do they set up meetings between buyers and brands? Like, how did that all work?
Yeah, how it all pretty much worked is when you set up your profile as a buyer, you kind of level set your objectives for the show. So, like what categories you're interested in. And then from there, there was a matching AI software that the New Hope team helped facilitate to kind of match you to specific brands. And then from there, they sent you out just a pretty large spreadsheet to kind of for the buyer to kind of add that input of what brands they would like to have meetings with or meetups with. And there was actually what they called the conscientious connection lounge. So we had a table, Fresh Time had a table, a bunch of other retailers had a table, and we just met throughout the course of the day. And I would have to say that the New Hope team did a really solid job facilitating the meetings throughout the course of the day. And like I mentioned before, I think that there's a lot of feedback that we can apply and a lot of learnings we can apply to make this process that much more invaluable to our partners and the retailers as we go forward. But yeah, it was pretty simple, pretty seamless.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, we have a couple comments from Luke that your comments were valuable. Hugh Curtis, great insight. Kenny, thank you. Gavin wants a link to your shades, where he can get those. I've got the website up for FreshTime.com. Kenny, remind everyone how many stores you have and the best way to get a hold of the buyers at Fresh Time.
Yeah, great question, Wade. So again, we have 70 stores across 10 states in the Midwest. We're a natural forward retailer. We pride ourselves on meeting the customer where they're at. That's really what we pride ourselves on. And the best way to reach us, one, all the information is on our website. And I think that's really just the best way to reach us too. You know, there's an inquiry email and that will be directed right to the prospective buyer.
Love it. Thanks for popping on, brother. Appreciate your support. Have a great holiday weekend.
You guys
Take
too.
care,
Thanks
Kenny.
for having me on.
Take care. And before we bring on our sponsor, Alex, I wanted to put Sarah Stender Delaney's comment with Cirilla, as far as she says she went to the show, she didn't have a booth, and she was still able to set up private buyer meetings through the app. So something to keep in mind, and something I always encourage if you can't exhibit for whatever reason, financially, logistically, whatever it may be, it's still beneficial. You can still get good value out of going to these shows to network. And thank you, Sarah, for that comment, because I think that's something that a lot of people can benefit from that comment. Thank you.
Yeah. And, you know, like anything, you know, how do we find great services? How do we find great companies? How do we find great shows? It's all word of mouth. So like as the show, you know, now that it's finished for this year, right, and they're prepping for next year, a lot of brand owners, buyers, they're going to start telling people about Newtopia Now, their positive experience, and it's only going to get more and more popular, and more brands are going to go out there in, you know, Denver in August. So really good stuff. And then I want to also just I didn't want to make Kenny blush too much live, but I went to before we bring on our sponsor here in about a minute, I went to a Fresh Time for the first time in my life back in April. I was at a coffee show. I was supporting my wife. I'm not in the coffee industry. I may soon be, but I'm not in it for right now. And I was supporting her at the Specialty Coffee Expo at the convention center in Chicago. And on the way in town, we were off the flight, red-eye flight, 7:30 in the morning. Passed by a Fresh Time. We're starving. We're dehydrated. It was like an oasis. It was amazing. And it was on kind of the outskirts of town. It wasn't in like downtown Chicago. And we went in there right when they were opening. What I noticed most beyond everything else was the staff. I mean, this is 7:30 in the morning. Like, you know, people are, you know, they just woke up, rolled out of bed and went to the store, and they were so friendly, so nice. They helped me find everything I needed. And they have this, you know, the mainstream items, right, for folks in the city and the things that they want to find, right? But they also have a lot of natural specialty items. Their selection was insanely good. So I was really impressed by Fresh Time. I took a picture, selfie, put on LinkedIn, and guess who the first person was to respond? It was obviously Kenny.
I'm guessing Kenny. And I know we're bringing our guest on, but I have to say, since you just talked about Chicago, I'm optimistic. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that I have a chance to see Kenny and or visit a Fresh Time store when I'm in Chicago next week, Alex, where I'll be attending the GFI Chicago Food Expo, which is
awesome.
next Wednesday and Thursday at the
Perfect weather.
Navy Pier. So yeah, if you're going to the GFI show, that's the Gourmet Foods International show in Chicago next week, let me know. I'd love to connect with you while I'm there. It's going to be a wham bam. I fly in Wednesday, fly back Thursday because I'm doing a master class with V Driven Thursday afternoon, so I have to be
Wow.
back. But yeah, if you're going to be at the show, hit me up. But yeah, let's talk about our sponsor. Let's get him in here.
You're a busy man. All right. So our sponsor, we're going to bring him on in shortly, in literally like 30 seconds. But it's Rebel Eats, and Adam Getz. He is with Reciprocal, who helped, and he's on the team of Rebel Eats, helped them essentially with their website, with their banner, and the new redesign look. And I'm just going to pull up a little information about Rebel Eats before bringing them on. At Rebel Eats, they cut to the chase and give you advice and help your need for your specific journey all along the way. They're the first company, and again, they're launching today, now, like worldwide, right here on CPG Vibes, August 30th, 2024. They're the first to provide this type of provider network. What provider network is that? It's a double vetted roster of CPG professionals who can give you the best bang for your buck for what you need help with at any growth stage. They're vetted by Rebel Eats, and they're also vetted by one founder that vouches for this CPG service provider. I'm on there with crowdfunding consulting. Many other great, such as myself, great service providers are on there as well. Fee Driven, I'm sure, will be joining shortly if they're not already on there. So let's bring on Adam Getz with Reciprocal to talk about what he does and also about Rebel Eats. Hey, Adam, how you doing?
Hey, doing well. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for being very patient. He was in the waiting room here for a good 45 minutes. What we do is before we hop on live, we have a mic check and we kind of brief each other on what the show is going to look like. And so he was on here an hour ago, and we briefed each other and we got ready. We're like ready to go. Okay, we have a game plan, and then we're like, and you're going to wait 1 hour in the waiting room. And he's
It's a
like,
good thing.
all
It's a
good.
good thing we have so much food, and it's really luxurious, that waiting room. We've got food, drinks, we've got music, entertainment, all things going back there in the waiting room. So I'm sure Adam was well taken care of.
we're
Time was just flying by.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're surrounded by, you had 70s, Mela, Wild Tonic, and Dano's seasoning, right? What the virtual green room here. So
Exactly.
tell us about you and where you're from and what you do for Rebel Eats and about Rebel Eats. Just it's the floor is yours.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I'm here to help announce the launch of Rebel Eats, which is run by a team of former CPG brand founders. Their main goal is to help other CPG brands get the access to the know-how to, better grow their brand and get it quicker, go from 0 to 1 a lot faster. Their initial offering, as you mentioned, is the provider network, which double vetted. It's not just, you can't just sign up. It's not like a Fiverr or an Upwork where it's going to get filled up with a bunch of people who are just there to get their name out there. Like you're mentioning, they have to already have worked with someone. Part of that also in this beta launch is they actually need help getting more service providers on there. And since you can't just sign up, they're really looking for brands to help nominate other service providers. So this isn't just hey, service providers, sign up, fill it out. They're actually asking for these brands to help nominate people that they love. They want other people to benefit from as well. And yeah, so this does a lot of help to um, get people going. You don't have to go on a Fiverr, an Upwork, anywhere, and just kind of hope that you find someone. You don't have to necessarily think
Mhm.
that they know what they're doing. You can really get going a lot quicker. So yeah, you can find someone like myself, or yeah, you as well, who is an experienced service provider. So I'm with Reciprocal, where we mostly help with web design and development. Focus a lot on brand positioning and user experience. How you communicate with your customers and how they kind of interact with your brand and how you seamlessly they purchase your products. So yeah, if you're a small company, this is really helpful, or a launching company, this is really helpful. Now you don't have to do it yourself. You can find people that are super experienced. There's like 14 different categories from accounting to marketing to web design and development, like myself. And you can go from not just having to do it yourself to get someone who's super experienced, or let's say you're already an established brand and you've had issues. You've grown so much, but now your website's kind of lagging behind, or you need help with something else. you can really help push that forward. And again, not have to go looking around. You can go on Rebel Eats and you'll find someone who's super experienced right away.
Awesome.
So yeah,
And
that's super nice.
yeah, and I will
Sorry,
say
go ahead.
it's, from a personal standpoint, right? I applied on Rebel Eats, and don't think I was just a shoe-in just because I know Trevor and know Adam. No,
Exactly.
they vetted me. Like they they vetted me to where in the application they asked for name 3 brands that you worked with, right, recently. And so I named the brands. I just filled it in quickly and all that stuff. And then I put in like the person's name. I put in the company actually only. And then I got a response from Trevor, and he's like, "You need to let us know who are the founders. Like, who did you work with, and cell phone number or email, please." Like
Yeah, you
they're
got to
on
prove
it,
yourself.
and then you went to them and asked them, and then you added me to your network of CPG professionals. I want to emphasize that this is heavily like this is CPG, right? This is focused on CPG, especially if you're a young brand, mature brand, young brand, all alike, and you want a trusted source as a CPG service professional. It's a great resource. So with this launch today, how many are on the network now? How many more are you expecting to be added to the network in the next month? What's kind of maybe it's a Trevor question, but what are the projections for how many service providers are on there now that we can find?
Yeah, I mean, I know with the initial launch, there's only like a small handful of service providers. Yeah, their sort of first sort of promotion, what they're trying to do and help grow this is, like I was saying, get other brands to help nominate service providers. Again, this isn't service providers can't like, like I was saying, just kind of hop on in. So all the brands that are listening, if you can help nominate other providers that you've worked with. So hopefully we can kind of grow it as much as possible, really help out other brands have a great access to what they need.
I do have one more question, and I'll flip it to Wade. This is an important one. Let's say there's a service provider that does, let's call it web design, right? Let's go into yours. Is
Yeah,
there a limit on how many from each category can be in there? Is it quality and quantity, or is it just a limit on each category?
that's a good question. From my talking with the team, I don't think there's going to be a limit, but I do believe the goal is to have this be a curated list. So I don't envision it being this massive hundreds of people in each category. But I also imagine they'll try to have people with slightly different focuses or different experiences, or even just different price points for these categories.
Cool.
Love it. Great. And I don't know they have any questions because we're getting tight on time and we want to talk. We have a prize to give away. We've got stuff we love coming up we want to talk about. But I did want to point out, if you didn't see that, Adam, in the chat here, Rich Mona is from Rich Insights, which is eye tracking, is already. We might have your first additional sign up for Rebel Eats. He's a
There you
service
go. Nice.
provider, and what he does is absolutely fascinating. And he will pass vetting, I guarantee you, because he's so good at what he does. So thanks again for your time, Adam. The best way to get a hold of you yourself is.
Yeah, so I'm at reciprocal.co, and yeah, if you need any help with website or development, yeah, we can help you out with that. And yeah, if you want to learn more about Rebel Eats, that's rebeleats.com.
Wonderful. Awesome. Thanks for popping on, and thanks for sharing all that valuable information about Rebel Eats.
And
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
yeah, and before we get you off to your weekend, we just wanted to talk about the prize here. So we have
Yeah.
the reciprocal 1 hour one-on-one consultation with a homepage hero redesign and brand positioning headline. Plus, we have the NOLA snack pack. It's 2 prizes in one. But tell us really quickly in like 30 seconds what the prize is and what the value is there.
Yeah, so to give you a taste of kind of my services, I'm going to be giving away a one-on-one consultation. We'll have like an hour. We can answer any of your questions or diagnose your site, go through an audit, things we can kind of quick wins we can find. Also, then after that, be doing a hero redesign and also updating your brand messaging kind of on that hero section. Uh, give you an example of that, and then also a bit of a tastier prize. We're going away It's NOLA variety pack, which is gourmet granola bites. This isn't like your classic crumbly granola. It's very moist and soft and
Mm.
delicious. So yeah, got some good prices there.
Getting hungry, and Wade, it's approaching dinner time with you, so your stomach must be grumbling
It's
over
growling.
there.
It's growling a little bit. Yep.
Adam, thanks, my man. Thanks for being on, and congratulations on the launch of Rebel Eats today.
Thank you guys. Yeah, you have a good one.
Thanks. You too. All right, Alex, you want to ask the question? You want to do stuff? What are we doing first?
I'm going to answer you with some music.
I love it.
So we're going back to old school. We're going back.
Okay.
So we have again, stay tuned because we have the prizes we're giving away, valued well over $200. Consultation, NOLA snack pack with a just chewy, delicious gourmet granola bite. So, but stuff we love. It's back. Okay, so the first one, I think they improved the music. It sounds better. This stuff is amazing. It's at Costco.
Mm-hmm.
Seeds of Change. Yeah, and it's a 6-pack for. It's $4 off at Costco right now. It's $13, but it's $9 for 6 of these. And then I make this. It's already it's pre-made, but just they took out the water. You just add the water back in a stovetop. It takes 3 minutes to make. Add some salt to it. Add some cheese to it. Add avocado. You got yourself a meal. I feed this to both myself and my son. My son, whenever he eats it, he goes like this. He celebrates. It's really, really cute. So, and it has, this flavor is quinoa and brown rice with garlic. Seeds of Change. It's 100% USDA organic and it's non-GMO verified. So good stuff. And then my second one, I'm on a kind of snackable macaroni as Goodles. This is also at Go 6-pack for almost nothing. I mean, it's like $10 or something. And you can get it at other stores too, but I get it at Costco. Goodles Cheddar Mac, creamy cheddar and macaroni, 14 grams of protein, 7 grams of fiber, 21 nutrients from plants, and it's clean label. It's part of the.
And Alex froze, so this is where I have to come in and tap dance for a little bit. So, Alex is rebooting or whatever it is he has to do to get back on here. Oh, there it is. I was just ready to tap dance for you. So I'm going ahead and taking over here, Alex, with mine. Sure. I've got links as well as packages. So this one, selfishly, is a V-driven client, but I just got these samples yesterday. Alex, I guarantee you haven't had these for a couple of reasons. One, they're brand new. Two, it's a meat product. This is Star Walker.
Ooh, I've heard of this.
Beef jerky. So they are regenerative organic certified. And I was so excited. I was excited about it. Just, they're a client of ours. They're going to be on the Sprouts Innovation table in October. So be ready for them there. But just the people are fabulous. The product, I opened it last night and you're supposed to have 3 servings in one of these bags. Yeah, one bag lasted me about 10 minutes. It was amazing. I emailed the founder this morning and I was like, what an amazing product. I was just blown away by the taste and it just was fabulous. So there's 2 flavors. There's a sea salt and pepper. This one is a cherry wood smoked. Just amazing stuff, amazing people. And go to their website. I put the link up here and see some of the things they're doing with their regenerative practices. Just fabulous. The second one, I've got a couple links I have to put up. The first one I'll put up is the brand website. And the second one I'll talk about here in a second. This is like me last week, Alex, trying to do all this at once. But here's the link to the web. And you may know these guys, Alex, because they were on Shark Tank. This long table pancake mix.
I talked to the founder,
Samuel.
Awesome
Samuel,
guy.
right? Yeah, awesome guy. I can't wait. I just got these samples yesterday, and I haven't got to try them yet. But Renee and I have already talked. We're gonna have pancakes this weekend for brunch, so I'm super excited to try it. But I am part of the SKU. Just put the link up. Michelle Breyer's organization, SKU.is. The link is in the comments there. But it's brands can sign up to be part of their tracks. They do a couple tracks every year. This is my 3rd time doing this. First time was with Daily Crunch Snacks, Laurel Orley. I was part of her mentor team. Then Holmes Applesauce. I was part of Ethan's team, and now Long Table. This track just kicked off this week. So basically what happens though is you as a brand apply. If you're accepted, they have a pool of mentors from all walks of life. Perhaps it's a former founder, myself with my background. They've got finance, they've got everybody. They throw them all together and then they assign mentors to each brand. And so I'm on the Long Table Pancake team and super excited to see how our team working together can help grow his business. So check out Samuel's website, Long Table Pancakes, as well as SKU.is for more information about that.
Cool. All right. So that is stuff we love. And folks, that's coming back for good because of high demand, right? So there you go. All right. So we have our prize, and this is called Friday Freebies.
Friday freebies.
All right. So as mentioned, our prize is going to be 2 items. Let me know if I freeze again or something. Give me a signal. I'm coming in loud and clear now, right? Good. Okay. Good. Internet's back on. Hamster wheels turning. So we have a reciprocal 1-hour one-on-one consultation with a homepage hero redesign and brand positioning headline for your website for your brand. And we also have the It's Nola Snack Pack Granola Gourmet Bites. And this has been brought to you by our sponsor, Rebel Eats, who launched today worldwide, August 30th, 2024. Congratulations, Trevor Smith. We're really short on time, and I have a meeting coming up, so I already have the question. And whoever answers correctly will win both these prizes. What type of show was I going to when I went into Chicago and I discovered Fresh Time?
Awesome. And thanks once again to our ongoing sponsors, MyWay 3PL, as well as RangeMe. RangeMe, you can scan the barcode there, MyWay 3PL, or your logistic partners. Great guys, great people. Encourage you to reach out and have a conversation. It'll save you money on your 3PL, your D2C. Just reach out, have that conversation. Let them know that Wade and Alex sent you, and you'll get a nice discount to get started. So, we're waiting for the comments to pop up here. And Michelle, boom, and it's fitting that Michelle got it because she is also on the SKU track. She's on a different team than I am. She's on the Forge and Found team, and she's going to be at GFI next week. So I hope to connect with her while I'm there. And Michelle, email cpgvibes100@gmail.com. What did we miss, Alex?
Just the fact that we'll see you next week on Friday, right? Next week, same place, same time. And then that will be August 30th.
September.
September. We're in September 6th. I was looking at the wrong date here. I'm like, wait a minute. So September 6th. And then the week after that which is September 13th, we have a special guest, Mark Randolph, the co-founder of Netflix. So I consider it CPG because they shipped out DVDs to people. I mean, that's consumer packaged goods, but now they're obviously the biggest streaming platform, is for movies and TV shows in the world. So the Mark Randolph, the co-founder of Netflix, will be on September 13th. And again, make sure to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We rely on every single rating. If you'd like to be a sponsor, we have a couple left this year. So before we end the year, so cpgvibes100@gmail.com. And beyond that, thank you, Kenny, for hopping on our show. Thanks to Rebel Eats for the sponsorship on this episode. And Wade, you have yourself a wonderful weekend.
You too, buddy.
Thanks, everyone.